Welcome to AI in 8 minutes or less, your daily AI update. Today we're diving into a really fascinating story, how China became a top contender in the AI race, even after the US tried to cut it off from the world's most advanced technology.
For generations, the ancient game of Go was seen as the absolute peak of human intellect. With more possible moves than there are atoms in the universe, the thinking was it was just too complex, too intuitive for a machine to ever really master.
But then, in March 2016, that all changed. Google's AlphaGo didn't just beat the world champion. It played moves that no human had even considered in 2,500 years of the game. For China, this was way more than just a game. It was a Sputnik moment. And just a year later, Beijing dropped a national strategy with a crystal-clear goal: lead the world in AI by 2030.
But that begs a huge question, right? The US has since cut China off from the most critical AI tech. So how on earth is China not only surviving, but actually thriving and catching up so fast?
Well, the answer really lies in understanding that AI isn't just one thing. It's more like a stack of technologies, all built on top of each other. You've got the hardware, which is the engine, the model, which is the brain, and the data, which is the fuel. The race for AI dominance is happening on every single one of these layers.
So let's start at the very foundation, the hardware. We're talking about the physical stuff, the actual engine that powers this entire AI revolution. And the single most important piece of that hardware is the GPU, the graphics processing unit. Funny enough, they were originally designed for video games, but researchers figured out that their design was perfect for the insane number of calculations AI needs. They are the roaring engines of modern AI.
And these engines? They are incredibly powerful and incredibly expensive. A single top-of-the-line GPU from NVIDIA can cost you $30,000. And to train a major AI model, you need tens of thousands of them.
Now, what's really fascinating is where these chips are actually made. Get this. Over 90% of the world's most advanced AI chips are manufactured by just one company, Taiwan's TSMC. This creates the biggest bottleneck in the entire global supply chain. And because TSMC's factories rely on American technology to operate, the US has been able to create a massive hardware blockade. They've effectively banned the sale of any top-tier AI chips to any Chinese company. China was basically cut off from the engine.
So, with the front door to the best hardware completely slammed shut, Chinese engineers had to get creative. They couldn't just rely on brute force anymore, so they pivoted. They started focusing on radical efficiency on the next layer of the stack, the software.
They took a concept called mixture of experts and pushed it to this incredible extreme. So instead of the entire AI brain firing up for every single question, which you can imagine uses enormous power, the MOE approach sends a question to only the small, specialized parts of the brain needed to answer it. It's so much smarter, way more efficient, and requires far less horsepower.
And a Chinese company called DeepSeek just took this to a whole other level. They sliced their AI brain into 256 tiny experts, combined it with a new memory-saving trick that cut usage by over 90%, and then they open-sourced it. They built a world-class model for a tiny fraction of the cost of their American rivals, basically proving you don't need the best hardware if you have the smartest software. But hey, even the most efficient brain in the world is useless without knowledge. And that brings us to the top of the stack and what might just be China's most powerful advantage of all: the fuel, the data.
So the next big thing for AI isn't just mastering language. It's about understanding our physical world. Sight, sound, and motion. It's really about giving AI eyes and ears.
To do that, an AI needs to be trained on something called multimodal data. Think of it as a massive, almost incomprehensible library of videos, images, and audio clips that teach it what the world looks, sounds, and acts like.
And this is where we see China's huge structural advantage. While American companies are left scraping compressed, often messy data from the public internet, Chinese firms have a direct pipeline to a near infinite stream of perfect, high-quality data from inside their own ecosystems.
Just think about it for a second. A company like ByteDance, which owns Douyin, the Chinese version of TikTok, has direct access to the original, uncompressed, high-definition video files. And even better, every single video is perfectly labeled with metadata and super precise user engagement metrics. This creates this priceless, always growing training library that Western companies simply cannot replicate. So, what does this all mean for the future of the AI race? Well,
It means the battlefield is shifting right under our feet.
What this really shows is that China didn't just find some workaround, it forged a completely different path to the top. The US is winning with hardware, with brute force, while China is answering back with software efficiency and a data advantage that is fundamentally unmatched. And this just reshapes the entire competition, leaving us with a final, provocative question. If the race was once about who could build the biggest engine, but now it's about who has the best fuel, who is really positioned to win the next leg of the AI revolution? If you enjoyed this, subscribe to AI in 8 minutes and never miss what matters.